If you want me to know whether you like a band, don't just play me their biggest hit. Play me the song the radio didn't. Because sometimes the deep cut tells you more about the band than the hit ever could. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Dave's Side One. I'm Dave, your host, over here at Art of Listening Records, where every record has a story and every story starts on Side One. We're on this week's musical argument number 2, and today's argument could get me into a little trouble. The deep cut may tell you more about a band than the hit. Not because the hit isn't good, sometimes it's fantastic, but because popularity and musical identity aren't necessarily the same thing. Let's use Styx 2 as an example. If there's one song people associate with this album, it's Lady. And deservedly so. It's an important Styx song. It's part of the band's story. And I'm not going to tear down a great song just to make an argument. But here's my question. If Lady were the only song you knew from this album, how much would you really actually know about early Styx? So let's try something. For the next minute, pretend Lady isn't there. Now look at the record again. What's left? This is where album listening becomes interesting, because now we're not asking which song became famous. We're asking what kind of band made this record. That's a completely different question. A deep cut can show you things the single doesn't have room to show. Maybe it's the band's heavier side. Maybe it's their progressive side. Maybe it's an arrangement that takes longer to develop. Maybe it's a strange little experiment that never had any chance of becoming a radio single. That's valuable because now we're hearing musicians explore. We're hearing the edges of what they could do. And sometimes the edges tell you more than the center. That's what makes an early Styx album like this so interesting to me. If your understanding of Styx begins with the enormous records that came later, you already know where the story ends up. But Styx 2 lets us hear a band that was still developing. The ingredients are there, the voices, the keyboards, the guitars, and the ambition. But they're still figuring out exactly what Styx is going to become. And you don't hear all of that from one song. So here's another listening test. Pick your favorite band. Now remove their 3 biggest songs. What's left? Can you still explain why you love them? If the answer is yes, those are probably the songs I want to hear, because now you're not showing me what everybody knows. You're showing me what you know. That's the deep cut test. Now here's the obvious objection. Dave, songs become hits because they're good. Absolutely they do. Sometimes the biggest hit is a perfect introduction to the band. And sometimes it really does capture almost everything that makes that artist special. There's nothing wrong with starting there. My problem is stopping there. If I hear the hit and decide I've heard the band, I've probably missed most of the story. And this is one reason I still love albums. An album doesn't only give us the song that worked, it gives us the context. It gives us experiments. It gives us songs that take a little longer. It gives us things we may not understand on the first listen. And every once in a while, that song that never became a hit becomes the one we love most. And that's the reward for staying with the record. So here's my verdict. The hit can introduce me to the band. The deep cut lets me get to know them. Start with the hit. Enjoy the hit. Certainly love the hit. Just don't assume the conversation is over. So on tonight's Side One Spin, what's the deep cut you would play for somebody who wanted to understand your favorite band? Not the biggest hit, not necessarily your favorite song, but the song that makes you say, this is who they are. Come back and tell me the artist, tell me the album, tell me the song, and make your argument in the comments. Well, that's it for today's Side One. Please keep that needle in the groove, and we will talk to you tomorrow with argument number 3. Can an album really be great if Side One isn't? Talk to you tomorrow.